Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Chris, and today I'm going to follow up on a comment that I was left yesterday about the different pieces that I stack. So I love getting feedback from the community. I respect all of your opinions, whether I agree with them or not. I mean, I like to hear what you have to say. So one of the comments yesterday was, stop stacking the high premium crap and get back to constitutional. Very good point. I agree. There's definitely something to be said for that, and especially with constitutional best being a really good bang for the buck. There's a lot to that. If you've been watching the channel for a while, oh, check that out. That's an awesome spider. Again, all of these critters are into gold and silver. They know what's up. But yes, constitutional silver is a great buy for what it is. I like it because, again, there's always like a little history attached. Again, I mean, I mentioned this in a previous video, like like the Morgans, for example. The Morgans, they go back into like the Civil War era. Just after that, like the Wild West, that's when the Morgans, they were there, they witnessed it, they lived it. And even the newer stuff, there's obviously the Mercury dimes, you have the war nickels, you have the newer stuff. Let's see, what date is this? This is from 1960, Franklin. There's so much there that you can take advantage of in the constitutional that you're getting. The reason that I like it is not necessarily because it's the best bang for your buck with as far as metals, because as I was watching a video about from Potter's Stackers, and he was talking about constitutional, and he was talking about his view on constitutional, that and forgive me if I got it wrong because I was listening, but I was also trying to do work at the same time. But that constitutional isn't necessarily the biggest bang for your buck. A lot of it gets melted down to be put into poured bars or things like that. And if you were looking for the best bang for your buck of just metal, you could go buy silver shot. So a lot of my stack came from the higher premium stuff because at the time it really was what piqued my interest. So I did spend a lot of money getting the pieces that I wanted, which I read the comments from all of you that a lot of you agree. Kind of buy what you want, buy whatever's going to bring you peace and joy in your stack, so that over time, whatever you have, you can at least enjoy it. If nothing else, I mean, if you're kind of just sitting on it, you want to be able to have stuff that you can look at and not regret. And I can honestly say that I really don't regret too much. There are a few pieces in my stack that I'm like, should I have bought that? But for the most part, I'm pretty satisfied. So, secondly, onto my crazy obsession, and apparently the media's obsession with the whole Brian Laundrie thing. So again, I apologize. This is a primarily stacking channel, but with the whole Brian Laundrie thing, the crazy part about the Brian Laundrie case, the reason that it's so fascinating to me is and these things happen, these things come along once a year, once every 2 years. There'll be something where it's that is pretty puzzling. What's the real story there? The funny part to me is that, you watch all these videos and people are the greatest crime sleuths ever. They are the best detectives. I mean, everyone has a theory about what happened, why it happened, what could have happened, how is it tied to other things that may be completely unrelated, but they can weave a web where it's you listen to it and you're like, absent any knowledge of what the real facts are, they make a good story. So the latest one that I saw was I was watching a video about the night that Gabby and Brian got stopped by the cops, and the cops broke them up. They let Gabby go in her van, and they sent Brian to a motel in Moab, Utah. So the only time I've been to Utah a few times to go to Zion and Bryce and and North Rim Grand Canyon, which was amazing. North Rim was like, wow, otherworldly. But so I'm not super familiar with Utah, but I kind of get the vibe from driving through it a few times, like, you know, kind of what it's about. And so anyway, Brian got sent to a motel. Now this is the part where this video got pretty interesting. So Brian went to a hotel, and then, you know, he ended up reuniting with Gabby after the fact. But where this hotel was, apparently there was a girl named Kylie, I believe it was, one of these two girls that went that got murdered, also in Utah around the same time. They found the bodies like after the search for Gabby's body. And it's crazy because apparently this girl went missing right after that time frame. So right after that night when Brian would have been like half a block away. So this guy was showing on YouTube that the hotel where Brian was staying was literally across the street and about maybe 100 yards down the street. You can see it in Google Street View. Like, it's right by the restaurant where this girl, or the place where this girl was working that ended up being murdered. So the tale that this person weaved was, and like apparently there's a lot of you know, buzz here about it, because everyone's trying to grasp at anything to come up with a story, which it's, again, none of us are detectives, none of us have any facts, so it's pure speculation. But the lengths that people go to connect events that may be completely unrelated is crazy. So anyway, Brian was at the hotel down the street from this other person who went missing and ended up being murdered. So the story that they wound together was that maybe Brian killed these two people, these two women, that night when he was by himself. He ended up freaking out because because of whatever happened. And he told Gabby, and Gabby was freaking out. So that time when Brian flew home to supposedly empty his storage locker, he was really flying home because he was freaking out that, you know, he was going to get caught for that murder or those murders. So he ended up going back to Florida to supposedly empty the storage locker, but then returned to be with Gabby in Utah. So then after that, after he reunited with Gabby, obviously she ended up being murdered. So now we know she was strangled to death, which is, I mean, that fits right up the whole murder mystery narrative. But the point they were trying to make is, what if Brian, you know, who knows what he did when, after the cops dropped him off at that hotel, he was probably all pissed off, probably, who knows, maybe went drinking, anything could have happened. And that if he did end up, you know, murdering these two women, that he told Gabby, and, you know, he fled after the fact, came back, and then Gabby was freaking out, and he was scared that Gabby was going to end up telling the police. So what did he do? He ends up killing Gabby too, to silence her. So crazy web of like, well, I mean, is that even remotely plausible? Who knows? I mean, again, listening, and it's been the case the entire time when people were, you know, speculating about where her body was, or was she alive, was she dead? I would say that the part that makes it so compelling to me is that a lot of people would say, you know, these are all just internet nuts, right? They're just completely nuts. These people could not write a coherent essay. We know, like, in real life, that most people cannot write a college essay or a high school essay worth the paper that it's printed on. But somehow on YouTube, they're able to cobble together loosely related events and come up with a pretty darn interesting narrative. So the one thing that makes me not discount everything is that they, you know, when Gabby went missing, all of these people were able to look back at their trips and find, you know, video of, you know, that van being in certain places, or Brian being in certain places, and remembering stories of, hey, we interacted with these people, or we saw these people fighting, or this or that. So that being the case, it does make me think, hey, you know what, like, yes, it's amateurish, and yes, it is wild speculation, but these people, who knows? Who knows if we'll ever know the real truth, because if this guy ends up tapping himself out, we're never going to know. No one's ever going to know. I mean, his parents might know. And that's the other thing too, is that the crazy part with the parents is that they have their own shady stuff going on, which is, that's got to be tough, because, family is family, right? What are they good for? Like, they're great, but like, it's family. So at the end of the day, like, if something comes up, you're gonna try and look out for them. But if these people weren't the cleanest of people as far as their business dealings and other things, they have the eyes of the world on them now. People are gonna find out everything and anything they can about them to make them look like the bad guy, which may or may not be true. I would say that the way that they're handling it is definitely, especially the parents, is definitely suspicious. But then again, I mean, they're limited. What can they do? What can they say? So we'll see what ends up happening. But I'm gonna leave a link in the description to the video I was watching, and if you get a chance, you get bored, go take a look at it. It's very interesting to see the web that these people come up with. And it's just good for some entertainment. Not that it's gonna really mean anything, but it is entertaining. Lastly, I did get those GAW prizes out today with tracking numbers. So I did email Got Boost and I can't remember the other channel name off the top of my head, but I did get your tracking number emailed out to you. So if you did win the GAW 500 sub GAW, go check your email. I did send you the confirmation with the tracking numbers on there, so you can get your GAW, and I did include a little bit more just for your weight. So yes, I hope you enjoy that when you receive it. Anyway, that's it for now. Have a great evening.